You're doing everything right. You're calm, patient, supportive, and still she throws out the I don't know if I love you anymore. What if I told you that wasn't rejection, but a test? And what if you keep failing without knowing it? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to pass her tests, not by playing games, but by leading with masculine strength and emotional clarity. So let me make something clear right up front. Her tests aren't manipulation, they're survival. Most men get into this and basically get this completely wrong. They think she's being difficult, emotional. They say things like, I can't win, she's never happy, she's pushing me away. But what she's actually doing is checking to see if she's safe to relax, safe to open up, safe to follow your lead. Because at her core, deep in her emotional wiring, she doesn't feel safe when she's alone in the relationship, not physically alone, emotionally. That's why you'll hear things like, you don't hear me, I don't feel anything anymore, I think I'm invisible. Those aren't complaints, they're emotional smoke signals. And the way that you respond determines whether the fire goes out or burns your whole house down. Women test to feel secure, not because they want to leave, but because they want to stop feeling alone in the relationship. That's directly from the heroic husband method. See, most men fail her tests not because they're bad men, but because they fall into nice guy patterns, apologizing for things they don't do just to calm her down, over-explaining to prove their innocence, asking, are we okay, over and over, or chasing emotionally with texts, flowers, or long talks that sound like therapy. She doesn't want a therapist. She wants to feel your presence, your clarity, your edge. Imagine her like a dancer, blindfolded. She wants to dance, but she can't see the floor. So she gently presses against her partner, you, not to fight, not to test your patience, but to feel, are you solid? Can I follow your rhythm? Will you catch me if I let go? If you flinch, freeze, or fold, she stiffens, protects, pulls away. But when you stand firm, lead confidently, and keep your frame without reacting, she melts. Because now she knows I'm safe again. I'm not alone in this dance. Let me give you an example, okay? A client I worked with, call him Chris, his wife kept snapping at him over small things. He kept trying to fix it. He'd explain himself, buy her flowers, even offered to talk more. Nothing worked. One day I told him, stop explaining. Just look her in the eyes and say, you're right, something felt off. I'm working on it, not because I'm scared, but because I care. He did it. She didn't say much, but 2 days later, she sat next to him on the couch for the first time in weeks. Let me break this down. Because once you understand the 3 levels of testing, her behavior won't feel random or confusing anymore. You'll see the pattern. And when you see the pattern, you can pass the tests. So level 1 is an emotional safety tests. Questions she's basically asking you is, do your words match your actions? These tests happen when she's emotionally burned out, when her nervous system doesn't trust the man in front of her. This is when she says things like, you say you love me, but I don't feel like it. You act different when things get hard, or she just pulls away completely. Here's where most guys fail. They react emotionally, try to fix it fast, or start explaining themselves to death. Here's how you pass. You stay calm, you be direct, and you let your energy, not your words, do the talking. So a client of mine, we'll call him Matt, his wife completely shut down, wouldn't respond to text, walked past him in the kitchen like he didn't exist. He kept asking, can we talk? It got worse until I told him, stop explaining and start embodying. He walked past her one day and just said, hey, just want you to know, I've been working on something and I'm not here to force it. Just wanted to say thanks for being strong through all of this. No follow-up, no pressure. She cried the next day. Why? Because it isn't, and it wasn't, about the words. It was about the calm, masculine presence behind them. Level 2 is consistency and congruency tests. The question that she's basically going to be asking herself is, are you becoming the man you say you are? You'll recognize this level when she says things like, I don't believe this is real, You're just doing things to get me back. I've seen this before. It won't last. And here's where guys crash the plane. They push for validation. They beg for feedback. They ask, do you see a difference yet? Don't do that. Her feminine is tracking your patterns, not your intentions. This is where you pull instead of push. You keep showing up quiet, steady, grounded. Think of it like lifting weights. You don't walk into the gym and yell, hey, mirror, am I jacked yet? You show up over and over until the mirror tells you. Same thing here. Let her observe your change. Let her feel the stability. That's what builds trust. Level 3 is masculine leadership test. Question she's going to be asking here is, can I trust you to lead, especially when it's hard? This is basically the final boss level. She's not testing what you say. She's watching what you do when things get uncomfortable, when business deals go south, when the kids act out, when she throws emotional fire at you. Do you collapse? Do you chase? Do you lash out? Or do you hold the line? This is where most men fold. Or worse, they fake it. And listen, she knows. Her feminine is wired to feel incongruence. She might not know why she doesn't trust you, but she'll feel it in her bones if your leadership is hollow. Imagine your relationship is a suspension bridge. Every time you reach, chase, or explain, you shake the structure. But when you stay calm, clear, and consistent, you reinforce the cables, and you're saying, I've got this, you can let go, you can walk across safely. And here's the truth. Most men miss. She wants to stop testing, but she can't until you pass. Because once she feels safe, she stops fighting you, starts following you again. All right, brother. So this is where we're going to get practical. Because if you're getting hit with tests, emotional walls, or cold silence, there's one tool I teach inside the Heroic Husband Method that changes everything. I call it the emotional feedback loop. And it's a 4-step framework you can start using today to shift the emotional dynamic between you and your wife. So let's break it down. Step 1 is acknowledge without reacting. You say something like, you're right, things haven't felt right between us. This is your first pattern interrupt. You're not defending, justifying, or explaining. You're doing the opposite of what she expects. You're slowing things down and grounding the moment with calm acknowledgement. This is powerful because it does one thing instantly. It disarms the emotional minefield. You're showing her you can hold space, not win the conversation, but lead it. An example of this is, let's say that, she says, you never listen. You don't care what I feel. Instead of saying, that's not true, I always listen, you pause and you say, you're right. Things haven't felt connected lately, and I want to own my part in that. Boom. Now she's listening. Step 2 is take extreme ownership. You say something like, I've let some things slide that matter to me and to us. This is where you speak for yourself, not for her. Because when she's testing, what she's really asking is, do you see what's off, or are you still blaming me for the disconnect? This isn't about admitting fault just to win her back. It's about being real with your ownership. You're basically not doing this to convince her. You're doing this because you're stepping up into alignment with the man that you said you'd be. That's the difference between reaction and responsibility. Step 3, set grounded boundaries. You say something like, I'm working on this for me, not to convince you, but I'd love to know what else you've been holding in. This is the moment that you stop chasing and invite. You're saying, I'm rebuilding myself whether you notice or not, but the door is open. You're creating intent-filled space, not no contact. You're sending the signal. This is who I'm becoming. You're welcome to join me, but I won't force it. She may not open up right away, and that's okay, because you're leading with strength, not neediness. Step 4 is you stay consistent, not perfect. This is where 99% of men fail. They show up strong for a few days, then slip back into over-explaining, chasing, and collapsing when she doesn't respond right away. But real trust The kind she feels comes from consistency, not intensity. You're not building a bonfire to impress her. You're building a pilot light that stays lit no matter what. You show up, stay grounded, you do the work, even if she pulls away. Because this isn't about proving something. It's about becoming someone. Imagine that you're the thermostat, not the thermometer. The thermometer reacts to the room. The thermostat sets the tone and the temperature. When things get cold, most men panic. They try to convince the room to warm up. But the thermostat doesn't argue the temperature. It calmly adjusts itself and lets the whole room catch up. That's how you shift the emotional dynamic. You become the warmest, most grounded presence in her life. And eventually, she'll start to trust the temperature again. Okay, so real quick recap. Acknowledgement without reacting. Taking extreme ownership. Setting boundaries that are grounded. Staying consistent, not perfect. That's your emotional feedback loop. That's how you lead without chasing. That's how you rebuild trust without begging for it. So let's take a breath here, because I want to say something that might flip your entire perspective. She doesn't want to fight you. She wants to feel you. What you think is drama, what you think is criticism, what you think is rejection is actually her searching for your grounded masculine energy. Not because she wants to control you, but because she wants to feel enough to relax. Now, there's a big difference between a test for power and a test for security. So let's break that down. A power test sounds more like, you're not the boss of me. I can do this on my own. I don't need you. This is about dominance. This is where you stay firm but kind, clear in your leadership, without needing to overpower her. But a security test sounds more like this. You say you've changed, but have you really? Why now? Why didn't you do this before? I don't believe it'll last. This is not her being cruel. It's her asking, can I let my guard down, or will you let me fall? Here's the truth. The feminine tests to feel the masculine. And when you lead calmly through chaos, you pass without saying a word. She doesn't need a speech. She needs to feel your internal leadership, especially when things get messy. I had a client, we'll call him Eric. Eric's wife would bring up the same old wound over and over and over again, right? He kept responding like most guys. I already apologized. Why are you still talking about this? And each time she pulled further away. When I worked with him, I told him this. She's not asking for another apology. She's asking, can I feel your strength when I'm in my storm? So the next time she brought it up, he didn't defend. He didn't flinch. He said, you're right to still feel that. And I want you to know this time I'm not disappearing. I'm here. She cried for the first time in months. So imagine she's a sea. Waves come crashing, emotions swirling. Her storms come and go. If you're a boat, you'll get tossed. If you're a dock, you'll break apart. But if you're the lighthouse, tall, still, and grounded, she can rage, crash, and swirl, but still know exactly where to come back to. Because the lighthouse never moves. It doesn't yell, it doesn't chase. It stands in calm certainty and says, I'm here when you're ready. I'll still be here. And that, my friend, is what she's testing for. She's not hoping you'll fail. She's hoping you hold the line. So she can finally stop fighting and rest. What she really wants when she tests you isn't control. It's not power. It's connection through your grounded presence. She wants to feel your calm in her chaos. She wants to feel your leadership when she's lost in emotion. She wants to feel your heart without needing to break hers to get your attention. And when you give her that, the tests stop feeling like battles and they start becoming opportunities to bond, not break. All right, so let's bring this all home with a real story. Because I don't just want to give you theory. I want you to see what's possible when things feel completely hopeless. Let me tell you about Jake. Jake came to me late one night after his wife dropped the bomb. I'm done. I feel nothing for you anymore. She had already contacted a divorce attorney. She wasn't sleeping in the same room, and she barely spoke to him unless it was about the kids. And Jake, like a lot of men, he tried everything. All the experts told him. Gave her space, went to therapy, started doing more chores. He even journaled his feelings. But none of that worked. In fact, the harder he tried, the more invisible he became. Until one day, I said something that cracked him open. I said, Jake, your wife doesn't need a nicer version of you. She needs to feel the man she married before you buried him. That's when the shift began. And what changed? Well, Jake stopped trying to convince her. He stopped over-explaining. He stopped chasing for affection like a wounded little boy. And instead, he started leading. Not loud, not aggressive, just calm, consistent, and present. He began owning his decisions. He set real boundaries, not ultimatums, but standards. When she snapped, he didn't flinch. When she cried, he didn't fix it, right? He felt it with her. When she tested him, he paused by staying grounded, and that's how he passed. The result, 3 weeks later, she sat next to him on the couch, not to talk about the kids, not to file papers, but to ask, what changed in you? A week after that, she reached for his hand. 2 weeks after that, she initiated intimacy for the first time in months. And it's because the chaser disappeared and the leader returned. She didn't just see a better version of Jake, she felt the man she thought was gone. And he came home. You can say, most men become like stray dogs when their wives pull away. They chase, they beg, they whine, and it only makes her run faster. But a shepherd doesn't chase. He stands grounded in who he is. He knows his presence has weight, and when his flock strays, he doesn't panic, he patiently leads until they find their way back. Jake became the shepherd. And when he did, his wife followed, not because he asked her to, but because she wanted to. Your situation may feel impossible. Your wife may say she's done. But if you rebuild from the inside out, if you stop reacting and start leading, even the coldest season can turn into a spring again. And brother, if Jake can do it, so can you. All right, let me leave you with this, okay? If this video hit you in the chest, if something deep inside you said, that's me, then don't just close the tab and go back to business as usual. This is your moment. This is the fork in the road. You can, step 1, get a book. If you haven't already, go grab the Heroic Husband book using the link below. It'll walk you through the exact method, the emotional layering protocol, so that you can start taking the right steps immediately. This isn't fluff. It's battle-tested strategy that already helped men go from sleeping on the couch to she just initiated date night. If you want to know what actually works, start there. Now, step 2 is book your clarity call. Now, if you're watching this and your marriage feels like it's on fire, if she's already said, I'm done, you're walking on eggshells, if you don't know what to say or do anymore, then don't wait. Book a free clarity call using the link below. This is a no-pressure call. We'll talk, I'll listen, I'll show you exactly what's going on beneath the surface, and you'll walk away with a clear plan to lead your marriage forward, even if she's emotionally checked out. Don't guess your way through this. It isn't time for more YouTube rabbit hole videos. It's time for clarity, leadership, and real action. And step 3, like, share, subscribe. If this has helped you, chances are there's a brother out there drowning in the same storm who needs to hear it too. Actually, we have a lot of private clients that say that they see this like far too often with a lot of the men in their inner circle, or even friends or people that talk to them. So, you like this video, share it with a friend, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started, right? At the core base of everything, the Heroic Husband mission is about creating a stronger society through stronger relationships, and that starts with stronger men. Every week I drop tools, strategies, and real stories to help men lead at home again without becoming passive, performative, or the nice guy. Okay? Trying to fix your marriage alone is like hiking up a mountain in the dark with a map from 1986. The terrain's changed. The old advice doesn't match today's problems, and if you don't have a compass, a clear sense of where you are and where you're headed, you'll burn yourself walking in circles. This video is your compass. The book is your trail guide. And if you want a shepherd to walk you through the steep climb, book a call. You don't have to beg. You don't have to chase. And you definitely don't have to give up. You just need a better strategy, and the courage to take the first step. Links are below. I'll see you in the next video.